One of our great spiritual challenges is learning how to pay attention, not simply to the world around us, but to the presence of God within our world and also within our own souls. Life so easily becomes crowded with distractions. We move from one obligation, notification, conversation to the next, always responding to what seems most urgent. Before we know it, the day has slipped away, and we have given little thought to the subtle movements of our own hearts, or to the still, small voice of God calling to us from within them. I sometimes wonder if this is one of the reasons that Jesus taught in the way that he did. He could have spoken with perfect clarity, answering every question before anyone had to ask it. But instead, Jesus often spoke in parables and aphorisms, brief stories and memorable sayings that lingered in people's imaginations long after their conversation ended. His words invited people to return to them, to see their lives from other angles, to notice something that they had overlooked before. New Testament scholar John Dominic Crossan points to one of Jesus's shortest parables as among his most powerful. It's a single sentence. The kingdom of heaven is like leaven that a woman hid in 50 pounds of flour until all of it was leavened. At first hearing, that sentence sounds pretty unremarkable, almost ordinary. But the longer we stay with it, the more surprising it becomes. Bakers do not hide leaven or yeast. They knead it into their dough. 50 pounds of flour is an extraordinary amount for one person to prepare. And then there's the most unexpected part. Jesus compares the kingdom of heaven to leaven itself. For those shaped by the Passover story, where unleavened bread marked God's deliverance, the inclusion of this word, leaven, would have not only been unexpected, it would have been opposite of what these folks thought possible. This is how Jesus loved to teach, not simply giving information, but helping form people's attention. He wanted people to see differently, to notice God's work where they were least expecting it. This morning's gospel extends that same invitation to us. At first hearing, the parable seems to be about seeds. They scatter across paths, rocks, thorns, good earth. But perhaps Jesus is asking us to pay attention not only to the seeds, but also the soil. The seed is generous. It is ready to produce. The question is whether the soil is ready to receive what it is that God is offering. Years ago, a friend gave me a funny piece of gardening/life wisdom that I have never forgotten. He said that it is better to plant a $10 tree in a $100 hole than a $100 tree in a $10 hole. I am not planning on planting any size tree in any size hole. But those words have stayed with me because they remind me that a tree depends less on what we see above the ground than it does on what is underneath, prepared to support it. Healthy soil is shaped over time. Stones are lifted away, the earth is loosened, dead roots give way, fallen leaves become the compost that feeds new growth. To the casual observer, the ground appears absolutely ordinary, but beneath the surface, life is gathering strength long before anything green appears. that is true of our lives as well. Jesus is inviting us to pay attention to the soil, the hidden work that God is already doing beneath the surface of our lives. This work unfolds in prayers that no one else ever hears, in forgiveness that comes more slowly than we had hoped, but that we worked for nonetheless, grief that gradually enlarges our hearts, friendships deepened by years of faithfulness, and the daily decision to choose love again after we have encountered disappointment. This kind of growth rarely feels dramatic. It's not easily measured, nor can it be hurried. Yet it is the very work underneath the surface of our lives by which God prepares us to bear new fruit. Our modern lives train us to devote our energy to what's immediate, what's visible, what's measurable. There are times when our responsibilities require exactly that. But if we never make space for the work of God beneath our surface, we will know what it is to reach the end of busy days, having done many worthwhile things, but without ever tending the deepest parts of our souls. The soil of our lives can become hardened by disappointment, made shallow by hurry, crowded with worries, ambitions, even good things that leave little room for God. Jesus names these conditions not to judge us, but to awaken us, because soil can always change. Stones can be lifted, thorns can be cleared. Even ground that's long resisted life can become fertile again. That is the hope of this parable, I think. God never gives up on the soil. Beneath the surface of our very ordinary lives, where so little might appear to be happening, God is patiently cultivating our lives, quietly, faithfully. Long before we can see the harvest, the gardener is at work tending our soil. All of this stands to remind me that gardens cannot be hurried, and neither can our souls. In the name of God, amen.